Hello. I'm AC Coppens, the founder of The Catalyst. We are a boutique consultancy boosting the development of innovative and creative players in digital tech, media, science, and film, music, design, and the arts, and well, creative content, so to speak. And in addition to strategizing for companies, we also curate conferences, program formats, and represent some speakers. And one of these speakers is Alexander. And we decided to bring the speakers to the front and so that they can share their insights with you and make sense of our current situation, meaning not only the pandemics, but also the incredible technological development that we have on and forever. So hello, everyone again, and welcome to Alexander Wodrich. He's one of the probably one of Europe's most renowned audio branding experts. He's the director and founder of Why Do Birds? I love the name, actually. An award-winning agency considered to be really one of the leading creators of holistic sound experiences for brands. It's based in Berlin. And it is behind the research, the conception and implementation of audio strategies for clients all around the globe, including Hyundai and Volkswagen, Seat, Deutsche Bahn, Siemens, FIFA. They won so many awards, I cannot even tell. The Grand Prix of the International Sound Award last year for its audio branding for Axel Springer. This year, the ISA for their work with Siemens, and Gold, also the Transform Awards Europe. Have a look at whydobirds.com. Alexander has been working in advertising, obviously, since '98. He collaborated with clients, really big clients, big corporates, but he's also a passionate musician, and he has played more than 100 concerts with his bands to date. So he's also a curator. He curated the sound exhibition Oggetti Sonori at the Museum August Kessner in Hanover. And I think he has a multi-facet, so to speak. And now, as he's really at the front of progress on sonic experiences, he will talk about the rise of voice-based services, what AI has to do with it, why brands are interested to invest in this and explore this. And yes, I think I said enough about you, Alex, and I think you could start, right?
Yes, thank you very much. That's a very nice introduction, AC. I have nothing to add. You said it all, and it sounds very good. Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you for having invited me to talk about a voice-first world, and something I like to talk about. And so the talk today is not going to be that much on classical audio branding, things I've been doing for about 15 years or so, but it's a little more focused on the topic of voice and what's happening with that. If you don't mind, I will share my screen because I have a few slides to show. All right, that sounds very good. Then I can finally say hello to this great and beautiful audience. Hello, Köln, I would have said. Usually when I get invited to talk at conferences, I get to travel there in person, but now it doesn't really matter where I am. I guess I'm in Berlin at the moment, and so is AC, and so is Anna, the people who are organizing this beautiful event, but it doesn't really matter. Usually, I like to travel around and see people in person. Now I don't see many of you, unfortunately. And I like to take the train to get there. And what I used to do a long time ago, when I started, I don't know, working, because I'm not 25 anymore, I used to travel to the train station to get my ticket before, because I couldn't book it on anywhere else. But so I went to the train station about a week before I had to go somewhere, and I picked it up at the train station, went home again. I was happy to have my ticket, and then came back a week later to take my trip. So this was all very personal experience. And to be honest, I haven't been at the train station to buy a ticket in a very, very long time, because what's happened was that a few years ago, there's something called the internet. So things are changing, and didn't have to go there in person anymore. And I could actually book a ticket really, really easily for a train trip, which I would have done if I had to travel to somewhere to present this to you. And then what happened next was actually that there is an app. And that means I can actually book my train trip over my phone. And so the brand or the service of the Deutsche Bahn is getting closer and closer to me. You know, in the first step, I had to travel halfway around the city to collect my ticket. Then I could just do it at home on my personal computer and print out a ticket. And now I don't need that anymore. I can actually get a ticket on my way to the train station. I don't have to print it out anymore. It's just on my phone, which is really, really nice. So what's the next step in reaching even more convenience? Well, here we go, everybody. It is, oh yes, the voice user interfaces that everybody is waiting for. So now a lot more things are possible in this world. Maybe you can just book your train that way. So the big message today, obviously, is audio first is becoming the new digital first. So I could actually be finished now with my talk on that, because that's the message I'm conveying to everybody. But however, the truth is, or the question is, can I really book a train ticket on my phone, or even something more complex? How about a plane ticket if I want to take a trip to, I don't know, Chicago? Has anybody ever tried to book a ticket with a voice-based service over the phone? I don't really think so. Maybe that's not working, or maybe people are afraid of all this convenience. But aren't people always looking for more easy ways to do things? Here's a little film that might explain a little bit of what people are worried about. I don't know, maybe somebody has seen this before. This is just a short snippet of, a voice-based experience.
What's the buttons?
Oh no, they installed voice recognition technology in this lift. I heard about this.
Voice recognition technology? In a lift? In Scotland? You ever tried voice recognition technology?
No.
They don't do Scottish accents.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
11.
11. 11.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
11.
Whose idea was this? You need to try an American accent. 11.
Yes. So this film goes on for another, I don't know, 2 minutes or so, but I'm going to spare that, leave that away. So maybe that just shows you a little bit of what's happening. So the thing is about voices, it's very invisible. You know, there's you have nothing to see. There's nothing to press. You just say, oh, somebody's hearing me. Maybe even be a little bit spooky for somebody that you're being listened to, and you don't know what they're understanding. So, but if we think about why all these things aren't working perfectly and why we're not really using these voice-based services so much yet, that's maybe, if you have a look at this slide, where you see the history of how the personal computers have evolved over the years. And to be perfectly honest, I think we're somewhere on the top line of this, somewhere between 1985 and maybe 1995, or as far as voice-based services are concerned. So we still have a long way to go, because back then it wasn't really all that sexy to use a computer and to try to use the internet and do something with that. That was not so easy. So a lot of people just left it and said, that's not interesting for me. So it has to become more convenient first for the users to really use it. But things are changing, and there's a lot of people working on these changes. And here's a little snippet.
Naughty Vibes is.
Oh, sorry. Here's a little snippet of what it sounds like with a synthesized voice these days. Sorry, I was going to skip that. Hold on. Listen, this is in German. Sorry.
Naughty Vibes ist ein Online-Text-zu-Sprache-Konverter. Damit können Sie Ihren Text in natürlich klingende Stimmen in verschiedenen Sprachen konvertieren.
Okay, so that was enough of that. That didn't sound all that natural. So what's happened, because if you try to record a voice and synthesize it, then there's a million different ways of saying something. You can talk slowly to emphasize a certain point, or do something really, really quickly just to drop by that, and then it's not that important. Say something very, very loud and make it easily heard, or you can whisper something and it's more mysterious. But if you're just recording a voice and try to make it work for one of these voice bots, then you don't have that many choices, first of all. But people are working on it, and listen to this. This is an Apple keynote from not too long ago, and see if you understand what's happening here.
We've used deep learning now to create a really natural and expressive voice for Siri, and I'd like you to hear it.
Here's the forecast for the next 10 days. Sunny, sunny, and sunny.
3 different ways to say sunny. Very powerful. Now, Siri also has a male voice, and it sounds fantastic too.
I love machine learning, especially since I'm a machine learning.
Okay, so we do see what difficulties are. I mean, I don't think anybody really is amazed to say, okay, oh, what's so great about saying sunny, 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 and to like have that go up in different steps. But these are crucial steps in the development of creating voices, and also to be able to differentiate between the word machine learning and I'm a machine learning. And for computer or artificial intelligence to understand that, that's actually a big, big step. So what happens is that the algorithm is fed with endless hours of speech to learn what happens next. It's a little bit like when you're writing a WhatsApp message or text message where your phone is already giving you words before you're writing them, saying you're probably going to want to continue your sentence with these words. It's because that's been learned that 100,000 people have already written these 3 words, and usually it goes on with that word. And that's how things are happening also with machine learning in voice. So you have the chance to teach a voice what might happen next. Okay, here's a little example of how you can turn a neutral voice recording into something else. Have a listen to this neutral text.
He left them carefully closing the front door, and when they looked through the hall window, they saw him go up the drive and begin to climb the slopes of withered fern behind the house.
So that didn't sound all that sexy, I must say. Let's say if I want to have it in a different tonality, something that might sound like this. No. Oops.
Never again shall Eleanor Lavish be a friend of mine.
So this is a whole different emotion that is behind these words. So let's see if you can teach the voice to go more in that direction. You can do that in little steps. How about going a little bit more emotional?
He left them carefully closing the front door, and when they looked through the hall window, they saw him go up the drive and begin to climb the slopes of withered fern behind the house.
That was the neutral version. Let's go up a bit.
He left them carefully closing the front door, and when they looked through the hall window, they saw him go up the drive and begin to climb the slopes of withered fern behind the house.
Or even more, like we had in the example before.
He left them carefully closing the front door, and when they looked through the hall window, they saw him go up the drive and begin to climb the slopes of withered fern behind the house.
All right. So you see, it is possible to have a tonality in there that you say, okay, that's my target, where I want to head, and you can change that. However, it's still an endless amount of work if you're trying to mix these things. Okay, there's one sentence that's sarcastic or ironic, and there's one where you're trying to be loud and funny, and the other one is where you're really, I don't know, emotional in a, I don't know, melancholy way. And if you want to mix all that in like 1 or 2 sentences, then that will be a lot of work, because no algorithm will understand how you mean these things before. So that's something we're still working on. And I think until that's possible, there's still a way to go, still a while. I don't know if anybody's seen the film Her. This is Joaquin Phoenix, who's falling in love with his personal voice assistant. I'll play you a little snippet of that and you'll see what I mean.
Please wait as your individualized operating system is initiated.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh. Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm well. How's everything with you?
Pretty good, actually. It's really nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too. Oh, what do I call you? Do you have a name? Or...
Yes. Samantha. Can we move forward?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So before we address your organizational methods, I'd like to sort through your contacts. Oh, you have a lot of contacts.
I'm very popular.
Really? Does this mean you actually have friends?
Well, you just know me so well already.
Yeah, so that was the voice of Scarlett Johansson, and he's falling in love with her, and it's a little awkward, obviously, but maybe this is something. I mean, the quality of this voice seems like there has to be something human in that person. Somebody there who understands what you're saying. Somebody who can react to your feelings. Somebody who can understand irony. Somebody who can understand emotion, and maybe that's possible in 10, 20, or 30 years. I don't think it'll be possible in the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, things progress really quickly, but these big things are going to take a little while. So I think we're going to have quite a trip before us where voice will get better and better and better. Then there's also the point where you have to be careful where it gets a little spooky. I mean, if you're talking to a synthesized voice and you can hear right away that this is a synthesized voice and it may be recorded well and have a nice feeling to it, a nice timbre and tonality, and then you still want to know, okay, I'm talking to an artificial voice. As soon as the voice gets so good that it's almost real, it gets a little spooky, that you really don't feel comfortable with it anymore because you're sometimes not sure, is this real or is this not real? And if it seems to be real, but it's not 100% perfect, then there's something awkward about that personality. So you have to be careful of those things. However, once these voices are perfectly shapeable, moldable, then me as a music lover I'm looking forward to the moment where this guy possibly can be brought back to life, like dead musicians, dead singers. This is Elvis Presley. There's millions of recordings of him. And we all know what his voice sounds like. And if you feed an algorithm with all of his songs and all of his 30 films that he was playing in, or if you take John Lennon or somebody like that, maybe we can bring these people back to life and they can sing. People are already working on that, and that's already been done in a way, but it hasn't been in a way that is really convincing. So, but give it another 10, 20 years and data and algorithms, and that might become possible. Okay, now I'm going to take a little step back to go back to these voice user interfaces, how we started. So this is to go back to the topic of branding. But also, okay, what happens if I want to go back to the example where I was booking my train ticket over, I don't know, an Alexa here, Amazon Alexa. I'm going to play, not play, I'm just going to show you what happens. If I ask Alexa, when's the next train going to Hamburg from Berlin? I'm talking to Alexa, and Alexa will answer, the next train is leaving at 12:15. But what's really happening is that there's something in the background. In the background, there's a lot of work from the Deutsche Bahn, or the German rail, that informs Alexa that that train is leaving at 12:15 on, I don't know, platform so-and-so. So what's really happening is what I want, or what the I want to ask a question, and the Deutsche Bahn is in the background giving all this information, but I don't really see or know anything about Deutsche Bahn at this moment. I want to communicate with Deutsche Bahn directly, probably. So what would that look like? So I want Amazon Alexa maybe to be there to help me, to be my voice assistant, but I want to know who I'm talking to. And a lot of the times that's not possible. Amazon Alexa is sort of like working as a gatekeeper and not really letting you go through that door. Not the way that you would like to. You can say open Deutsche Bahn, but I don't know if I want to say that, and I don't know what I have to expect there. So what I want, or what we want maybe, is to be to have voice-based services and Amazon Alexas to work like browsers. So if I open a website, then this is in the Chrome browser. I can clearly see if I enter Deutsche Bahn, or if I want to get that information, I'm right there, and the browser, the Chrome, is in the background. This is the same website on a Firefox browser. So compare this to, I don't know, Alexa and to Siri to help me open a website. These are identical. They let me go through them. And Deutsche Bahn has the chance to do all the branding the way they want to. You don't have that chance right now with smart speakers where you can do whatever you want. You always have to talk to people at Alexa or Apple and see what they allow you to do. And usually you're stuck with using the Alexa voice. So this is where it gets a little more complicated for brands, because if you're using voice-based services, you don't have any more visual feedbacks. You don't see anything anymore. Here, I'm right, and on this website that you see, you know, okay, I'm dealing with Deutsche Bahn. They can use their font, they can use their colors, their logos, their imagery style, and everything. So they can create their own universe there. That is very, very different in voice-based services. So why is that a problem, and what's wrong with brands for that? I mean, brands is a little bit panic struck at the moment, because if you use Google on a computer and you enter a product that you're looking for, I don't know, if say you want to buy a TV set or a printer or something, then it will give you on one page the top 10, and then you can go on and click on and see more and more. But if you do that in a voice-based service, then you only get the top one. Or maybe there's a possibility you get the top two if you say, please name the top two, I don't know, printers that I can buy. But nobody wants to listen to a long text of a voice assistant naming 10 links to you. So you probably get that, what's ranked highest at Amazon, for example, where Amazon makes the most money, or the brand that pays the most money to be ranked at number one. So it helps if people know your brand and you can ask directly for it. So you don't just say, Alexa, please buy me, I don't know, 10 bottles of cola, because you might get Pepsi or Coca-Cola or something else. So it helps if you can say, I want Coca-Cola, or a certain brand that you can specifically ask for. So brands have to be in the mindset of people. And if you don't have visual feedbacks anymore, where you can see all these beautiful brands with all the designs, then they might be forgotten. So in this whole mindset, it's important to be recognizable. And you can do that by using sound, of course, too. So why brands? This is about Google rankings here in this context. And of course, the clearer a product can be named, the more likely it is that you will search for it directly. So brand building is now more important than ever to strengthen advertising recall. Here's a little quote that I found in a marketing magazine. Right now, most skills are audibly unbranded, meaning no unique creative audio outside of Alexa's voice. So while thousands of brands sit silently in this competitive space, therein lies an opportunity for differentiation. So brands now have the chance to become heard. And if it's not, but with a voice like that you can specifically choose, you still have the chance in audio branding to have user interface sounds and yeah, and to use those, and make sure that your brand can be recognized if you start a skill with your sound logo or a specific sound, or if you have feedback sounds, if a transaction has been taken. These can be branded and have to give the user the feeling that they know where they are, and they have to feel comfortable with it. The more they understand who they're talking to, the more trust they can build. One brand that's really invested a lot of money into their audio branding is the MasterCard one. They've invested 7-digit number just to create a sonic universe for them. And that's because MasterCard believes that there will be like a $40 billion revenue just from voice controlled services purchases by 2022. So every time you do buy something and use your MasterCard, you will get a little sound from the MasterCard on that for that service. And that'll be something like showing your logo, but this time it's just an audio way of doing it. The CMO of MasterCard said, with the spread of smart speakers, an audio strategy for brands is no longer nice to have, but a necessity. So we believe that there will be less visual feedback. So you have to make sure that you work just in an audio world. It has to be possible. And you have to create a brand experience that is a little bit just outside of what Alexa or Siri have to offer to you. So in a way, you could say that UI and UX sounds that you may use are like the new sound logos or new logos in general. And that's something where we are right now in branding, where we're trying to talk to clients who are very insecure at the moment, how to handle these situations, what to do, how to be recognizable in this world. And that's where we're just at the very, very beginning. And as far as voices themselves are concerned, more and more brands are now thinking, okay, we need our own voice. We need to have a voice outside of Amazon Alexa or Siri, and we have to be recognizable. And if people want to talk to us, they will have the one voice that is the equivalent of the brand. That's going to take a while. While choosing voices, there's one interesting voice I would like to introduce to you. I don't know, you may have heard that. It's, this example is I think it came out at the end of last year. It's the first genderless voice I'm going to introduce to you. That means what they did is they tried to create a voice that is neither male or female. And this is how they did it.
Hi, I'm Q, the world's first genderless voice assistant. Think of me like Siri or Alexa, but neither male nor female. I'm created for a future where we are no longer defined by gender, but rather how we define ourselves. My voice was recorded by people who neither identify as male nor female, and then altered to sound gender neutral, putting my voice between 145 and 175 hertz, a range defined by audio researchers. But for me to become a third option for voice assistants, I need your help. Share my voice with Apple, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. And together we can ensure that technology recognizes us all. Thanks for listening, Q.
Yeah, I just thought this was a very nice example where voices are created, and it sounds very good too. And so we're trying to, think, how can we create voices that are really, really distinct, that have a personality of their own? And that's what we're working on also with White Birds. Well, that's all I have to say for now, and I'm really, really happy to discuss with you now what you think about this world of voices and the fear of the voice-based services, and do you use them at all? Do you see any function or any benefit in having that right now so far?
Cool, super nice, Alexander. Thank you so much. This was really great with a lot of little nice and funny examples also, which makes it very lively and entertaining. So my first question, maybe because I have the privilege to start the Q&A, and I will start with a small question. So you at Why Do Birds, are you actually creating voices, like really from scratch, depending on the brand and the way they look and what kind of voice would really like work with them? Or are you cloning voices because you think they have a personality that is matching them? I'm not even talking about the right issues now, but how are you doing this, practically speaking?
Practically speaking, it's incredible. You have to find at the moment, what we do, we have to find a real person that you just want to say, okay, we like your voice, we think your voice is flexible enough, or you can talk well, and you can be the brand voice for brand X or Y or Z. And once you've decided that this person can be the voice for this brand, you have to start recording this person in a studio for weeks and weeks and weeks. And what you do is you don't, I don't know, back in the day when they started out with text-to-speech, sort of like services, you know, you just recorded syllables and certain words that you needed for your services. Now it's actually whole sentences that don't make much sense, like the sun shines a lot in summer and sometimes it rains. Sentences like that. And you record thousands and thousands of these, and then they're just, you know, you use an AI algorithm, and then the machine learning starts, and the machine starts to learn how sentences are pronounced, how words go, and what goes up and what goes down. And of course, you have to record things in a certain tonality. And if you want to, you can expand on these voices nowadays, and then say, okay, I can make this voice learn another style of speaking. So we're at a point right now, actually, where if you start working on a certain voice, you can use that first of all, and you can keep training it, keep making it learn new things. Basically, the voice can grow up. A voice can be more fluent. A voice can be more you can even speak more languages. You can even record a voice in a certain language and then teach it another language, and it will be able to speak that other language, which is pretty amazing. But
or have an accent. Recently, we were trying a new program to customize your own digital human. So we were building a digital human, customized digital human for the agency. Mm-hmm. And so all the team was around my computer. I was like, girls, like, what language do we want this person to speak? And they're like, oh, let's do English. And then, but let's put a French accent. And it worked. We put like English, but French style or whatever that was. I mean, like, you can have a look. It's called Unique. They have these they customize actually like digital humans. I mean, more avatars in 3D and etc. Do you think that this is also a future for voice, that we will have also platforms or like, oh, I like this voice? I mean, I saw something that Richard was actually putting in the chat a little bit before. What was it called? Hold on. Descript.com.
Yeah.
Richard, do you want to add something on this?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing with Descript is it's taking your own voice. So you can build your own. I don't know why you would necessarily want to do that if you're going to be conversing with yourself and you're actually having your own voice talk back to you. That would be very strange. But you can build your own voice profile, so you can use that to talk to other people, and it's your, you know, your avatar, your voice avatar, which is, you know, it's an and it's very realistic, with a few caveats. Yeah.
I want to try it right away after this talk.
It does take, to Alexander's point, it does take quite a while to build that voice, and it's sort of the more you put into it, the more you get out. So if you're willing to spend, you know, a week training this system, then you'll probably get to be, you know, pretty close. You know, but the sort of bare minimum is, you know, still quite a lot of effort to build that voice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is a little bit what you were saying, Alexander, right? That there is a lot of training in the background before.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's actually some websites now. I forgot I put it in the chat. I forgot the link, but where you can already now just speak into your laptop microphone. I think it's 10 sentences or so that are named there, and it will build your voice, and then you can type in a text of your choice, and it will spit out your voice saying those words. And so that can be done in a few minutes. And of course, the quality is not that amazing, but it's already scary enough to see, oh my God, I just said something completely else, and they're flipping and turning my words around. And so it's also a bit scary to see what can happen if there's enough data of your voice flying around, and people can fake. That's the deep fake danger out there in the world. And I also think that is a bit scary.
Talking about voice, I mean, I think that voice is one of the most emotional way, really, like to transmit, like how you feel, and what maybe also to show what you think, even if you don't want to do so. But listen, using voice for convenience and etc. exchange is one thing, but it is different also if you want to use it as a branding opportunity to give a voice to a brand, right? So I think that it is necessary to have a look at how you program that voice. And my question to you, Alexander, is like, do you think that voices will have more impact for call to actions? Or it will be, I mean, like used in a sales perspective because they have this emotional impact, maybe even the manipulative impact? Or will it be more a way to give a face with a voice to a brand, like a nice ad, nice logo? A logo doesn't sell immediately, but a logo gives trust and confidence and recognition and visibility. So do you think the voice will go further in terms of selling?
At the moment, the reason why people are synthesizing voices is because you don't have the voiceover artist in your studio 24 hours a day. That's the only reason. If you had a speaker, a voiceover person who's always there for you, then you would actually rather use him to say it this way, say it that way. What we experience in advertising now is, I mean, those are real voiceovers, they're not synthesized. And they're saying the call to action. And now everybody's trying to get to that point where you say, all right, we'll synthesize a voice that does it just as well. I don't think, the question is, what is better than a real voice? Can there be something better? Or how would better sound? Because we don't even know what better means, better than a real voice. I mean, if you have a good voice-over artist, he's very flexible, and he can either shout out a call to action, or he can do that in a very emotional way, or you can cry while saying it, whatever. And you can teach a synthesized voice, all that. But what will make it even better than that? I don't know if that is the goal. I think it's a very convenient goal to have a voiceover at hand for free every day.
Mm-hmm. We have a question in the chat, which has oh, that's very good. Anna is already putting some hints on it. Tank Thunderbird, who is coming by nearly every talk here. Tank, it's great to see you again. Tank, you're asking, are there also experiments with race neutral or class neutral voices, which is obviously heavily connected and correlated to accents, I guess, also? I mean, I can tell you a lot about accents. How will a brand deal with a mixed user base is the question. Alexander, what do you think?
I don't think that there's anything like that happening. I think the genderless voice was a big thing to do that, and I think that will have relevance, or will show people that is actually not such a bad idea, to get out of cliches. And but as far as race
and bias, not only cliches but bias, yeah,
that's true. So I think that was an amazing idea, because the discussion that we have with clients sometimes about, oh, are we male or are we female? you get into so many cliches and what people say, oh, we want a voice for our telephone on hold line. Should it be male or female? And then depends on the company. So, oh, well, if you use a female voice, that's very service-based, very service-oriented. And, or we use the man, that he's the expert explaining something. Oh, that's interesting to hear. I go, are we still in that age now? And so we try to shake that up a little bit and say, no, guys, I'm not going to do that. What we usually do is when we do that, we say, let's have a mix. Let's have a one. Sometimes they say, we want to be bilingual. So that's perfect. They use German voice is male and the English is female, or the other way around. And they just have a mix. And then there's no question, are we male or female? It's more a question of a voice family, maybe.
But that's very interesting. I mean, so the genderless voice is not so attractive to brands, I guess, right? They are into a fear zone suddenly, right?
That'll be interesting. If that is a fear zone, I'm not sure. Just because you can't really say is it male or female. Question is, are you thinking about that? If a voice is very likable or very friendly or very it's turning towards you, it's very attentive, then you just maybe just hearing a voice which you find pleasant. And I'm not sure if you have to try to picture a male or female in your head. And if it's genderless, sometimes there's people who say, oh, I thought it was a woman. Somebody says, oh, I thought it was a man. So it's left up to your own imagination, what you prefer or what you expect maybe.
Absolutely. I'm sure there will be a great progress in terms of research on this, but also in terms of realization. Also in terms of, I'm also thinking of this, the nuance of the emotion which can be programmed. I'm thinking of this chip, EmoShape. EmoShape, they have a chip which is recognizing from human voices, like 60 billion or something, different nuances of emotions. And I guess that the voices of the digital humans or avatars or soft humanoid robots and etc., which will be equipped with these chips, I guess that there will be a great progress also in terms of what you are doing with the cursor from neutral to emotional voice, which is, of course, which has a lot to do with the rhythm, with the breathing, with the voice.
Exactly. I think just like you're saying, if there's a recognition for so and so many different nuances of emotions, it's going to be turned around and say, okay, how can we take those 50 million different nuances of emotions and then again turn them towards a synthesized voice speaking that way. So it's not about recognition only, but it's going to work in two ways in the future. But that's
absolutely
very interesting. I'd love to be here and pick up this conversation in 15 years from today and see where we are and laugh about what we're doing, just like the picture I showed of those old PC. I don't know.
We have to clone ourselves or make ourselves living forever and check. I'm also total curious. We have a good question also here by Susanne. I think it's great, Susanne, even if you were not there immediately after the beginning. But however, I'm sending also two links right now about this, which is the future, which is supposed to go screenless. We all remember, of course, Minority Report, Tom Cruise, no screen, speaking in the wherever that is. That was, I don't know, was it 20 years ago? I can't even remember. Anyway, but do you think, Alexander, that are we already going to go screenless so soon?
Oh, no, I don't think so at all. I think it'll be a mixture. It has to be a mixture. And I think people will want to have visual feedbacks for a lot of things. I mean, but there will be situations where you don't really have the chance. I mean, if you're like, for example, if you're driving in your car, and I think it can be very convenient if you can do a lot of things just by saying things, because you know the golden rule is eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. So you have to concentrate on your driving, and you're not allowed to watch TV or play around with your fingers on certain interfaces while you're driving a car. So that's, I think, where there will still be visual feedbacks for a lot of things, and which is nice to have. But there'll be things where it's really, really convenient to that it works without visual feedback. But any visual feedback or even haptic feedback is amazing to have and very, very helpful. So, but now, you know, it's actually the mixture. If you imagine pressing a button and you don't hear anything, you don't know, did I press it or did I not press it? Was it like, if I don't have a feedback, if there's no interface that shows you that, yes, you did something, you want to have a sound of, oh yeah, I just realized I pressed this button, and that's all I need to know. So that's where the UI and UX design is working very closely hand in hand with user interactions, with visual feedbacks, audio feedbacks, or even audio visual feedbacks.
And haptic, as you were saying, so we're getting really heavily in immersive environments, and I think that the visual, of course, is super interesting, but as we were saying in the film industry, I mean, 50% of the quality of the film comes also from the quality of the sound, the environment, and the way you get into this. So obviously this is, actually it's incredible, we did not do that before. I mean, it was in, the Germans say in Kinderschuhe, in kids' shoes, right, for a while. I mean, of course, you had this kind of, I'm thinking also about brands having a specific music or music style, or groups associated to their branding and advertising, right, and videos and etc. But now it's getting even more like to this voice thing. So it's really very, very interesting. I want to check, do we have more questions? Richard, hold on. Important to think about the primacy of spatial audio in driving, the prominence of the audio first experience. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. Deloitte report is also good. Do we have specific question to Alexander? Otherwise, we can say, I forgot to tell you at the beginning, but the ones who are coming back to this little webcast know that it is a very intimate round. So at the end, we cut the recording and we go into networking, just like in real life, as we would be doing after a nice conversation, and be more personal and ask further questions. So I just want to make sure, do a last round.
I do have a question that I posted in the chat earlier on. So I work in all of these areas very extensively, particularly in voice. And so this is just fascinating to me. But one thing that I was curious about in particular with synthesized voices and how that works in a naturalistic conversation scenario is, how do you deal with latency? Because that is the biggest. I mean, I'm right now I'm tethering to my phone because I just moved to a new house and I don't have Wi-Fi, so I'm just, and it's amazing that I can do this. But even with the fastest Wi-Fi, you're still going to get latency. You know, you can't beat the speed of light. It's just not possible. So one thing that I find, a lot of my work is to do with video conferencing, and the issues that occur when the latency is suboptimal is that turn taking is compromised. So we saw in that video segment with her, the reason why it worked so well was because there was zero gap between his interaction and hers. They were almost talking over each other, and that is the essence of naturalistic conversation. And so when you add in the processing that's involved in sort of generating the response from the assistant to something that someone is asking, I guess my question is, do you think it's possible to get to a point where, you know, I sort of had this idea of like, well, why don't you just, you know, why doesn't it just kind of take your what you're saying, convert it, you know, convert it to speech, and then predict, you know, some sort of predictive response is based on what the algorithm thinks you're going to say. So, you know, like if I get to the end of the set, you already know that I'm going to say sentence. And so you can cut down that latency potentially by predicting what what people are going to say. I don't know. That's just something.
Exactly. I mean, that's you're completely right. That's a very technical issue about the latency thing, and that's where conversation really gets unnatural if there's a latency and if there's just short breaks in between. But maybe we're heading towards 5G and and more data stream. And just imagine in a few years there'll be 10G, and I think by the time we reach 10G, maybe that latency will be 0.05 seconds or something like that, and that will probably be just so quick. It's like the internet in the early days. If you were like open a website and you go, okay, this is going to take 20 seconds, which people say, hey, it's okay to wait 20 seconds for a certain service. But now, if you know this is going to take 20 seconds, you just don't open a new website. You say it's just too slow and just leave it. So I think the time is probably going to come. And aside from that, also the other point that you had, I think it's 100% correct, that the algorithms will jump in before you finish a sentence. When they've heard a sentence many times before and you know how it's going to end, they just jump in, and they, within a half a second, they can change again if they, oh no, the sentence did go on. I'm sorry to have interrupted you. I thought I knew what you were going to say, but so.
Which is very natural and very human.
Just like in life, I always interrupt people when they're talking as well. So I think it's a matter of time again. But that's just a technical issue which really can be solved in a number of years.
Question of time, so to say. Question of time 2. Any further questions for Alexander? Are we all good? So, okay. Well then, I mean, just in case, I mean, we will have.